Hey, welcome back to the first video of 2020. First video of the year, first video of the decade. Pretty crazy to imagine and to even think about that. I'm still playing catch up from the holidays, trying to get back in the groove of things. I did have the kids for the majority of the time over the holidays, so didn't have a lot of time to do much. And just with the holidays and the New Year's and kids and work, and because I didn't take any time off, it's been a whirlwind end of 2019. So wanted to cover a few things, wanted to start the year off right, wanted to chat about a few things in regards with the channel and where we're going, where I'm going, where you're going to be going, and hit that. So the first thing I just want to hit is use this time at the beginning of the year, beginning of the decade, to set your intention for this year and your decade. And it's really important to really focus on the positive things that what you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish so that you kind of bring more of that into your life. If you start this year out thinking that it's going to be horrible and focusing on all the bad things that are potentially happening, not to say that there's not bad things happening, because there's probably a pretty good chance that there's a lot of stress and anxiety going on. And I'm going to hit that in a moment about how I didn't do this last year and how it really railroaded me for pretty much the entire year. So it's really critically important to make a list of the good things that are going on in your life, what you're accomplishing, what you're grateful for, what you're happy for, so that you can remind yourself of the good things. Because there are times when life just has a tendency to kick us in the shins, knock us over, throw dirt in our face, and then like stomp on our hand. And when that happens, it's really easy to focus on that immediate pain that's going on and really having that fixate your intention for your life, and it's just not a good place to be. I can tell you that in the beginning stages of my situation, I was so focused, laser-like focused on all the negative things that could happen, that were probably going to happen, that I couldn't stop, and it really drove me crazy. And I look back now after all these years, after this 8+ years of time, and oh dear God, if somebody could have just grabbed me in the early part of this and somehow shook some sense into me saying, Duane, just relax, take some deep breaths, it's going to be okay, this isn't going to be as bad as you think it's going to be, and you're going to be all right. Maybe, just maybe, I would have been able to take that breath and reevaluate every aspect of my life so that I basically didn't get caught up in all the negative energy and all the stress and anxiety. Again, I have an example. I'm going to hit on that just a little bit later in this video. So one of the things I want to mention, and this is one of the mistakes that I did make I've been making this year after year. And I was talking to a buddy of mine about this, an old high school friend, and I've read this before, but he kind of just reaffirmed it, and that is pick short-term goals. Pick basically quarterly goals, maybe even 3 months. Wait a minute, that is 3 months. To where so you can bite-size your achievement. Now, obviously, don't, I'm going to get a master's degree and I haven't started, anything. I mean, obviously, it's got to be realistic, but pick short-term goals that you can track and monitor, and you can measure your success, and you can see where you're going. Plus, the one thing about that is if you're working toward that goal and something happens and it doesn't. Let's say life makes your priorities change, then you can readjust it, and you're not sitting there at the end of the year going, oh my God, I was planning on doing all these things. I accomplished nothing. My whole year has been a waste, and you can really wear yourself down. Like, for instance, one of the quarterly goals that I would really like to do that I want to knock out this first quarter is writing a book. Debbie and I sat down basically a month ago, worked out the outline of what that's going to look like. It's going to take a lot of the original videos of my mindset for narcissistic abuse recovery, which is a stupid name, but I should, that's one of my other goals, is to revamp that. But I want to write a book that's kind of a primer for the beginning phases of this. I think that would be a good culmination of the last by the time that's done, it'll be the last 4 years of this channel, and have something that could potentially be very useful in a physical item that somebody who's starting out with this would use. I realize that a lot of people who have been on this channel, it's probably nothing that you would need because you've been on this journey for a long time, and I think that would be something I've been wanting to do. But pick a short-term goal that's good for you, whether it's starting a new hobby, whether it's accomplishing something, joining a club, taking dance class, or whatever it is. Find something that's a short-term project that you can measure your success and make something happen. I think it's really important to give yourself some deadlines and some goals like that so that you can achieve them and hopefully not get distracted. So on that, let me jump into not a revelation, but a review of 2019 for me. Basically, this time last year, I was in a tailspin. Actually, to be perfectly honest, the year 2018 ended really well. Things were going really well. One particular YouTuber reached out to me and they're like, "Hey, I want to team up with you. I want to introduce you to my audience. Give me some information. We can start working together and it'll be great." And I was like, "Oh my God, this is going to be wonderful. Things are really going to start into place." And I was really excited. And then I saw that person measuring the front of my house and found out that there was a strong possibility I was going to have to move or I was going to get kicked out of my house. That screwed me up for the beginning part of that year, beginning part of 2018. I lost my focus. I lost my momentum. I was so behind the scenes. I was in such a almost panic mode, not really sure what was going to happen. My rent was going up. I didn't know if I was, like I said, I didn't know basically what my landlord, if you guys remember, anyone who was around for a while, remember where I talked about that, where they were basically saying the owner of the place had passed away, the house, all his homes had gone into a trust, and they were looking on whether they were going to sell things or raise the rent and all that kind of stuff. Fortunately, ultimately what ended up happening is I got to stay, but I was basically living in this limbo state for approximately, 6 months until midsummer, not really knowing what I was going to do, how I was going to make ends meet, what was going to happen, and it totally threw me off. Yes, I did keep up with work, I did keep up with the channel, but everything else that I was intending to do for 2018 was just obliterated. I had some interviews lined up, I had a lot of stuff lined up, but I was in such a mode that I was laser-like focused on survival that I just really wasn't able to focus on anything else. Now, the reality is all of that time, wasted energy. I freaked out for nothing. I got to stay. My rent went up. That's been painful. I will definitely admit to that. And that did cause me to focus on different things, focusing on coaching and stuff like that to try to bring in a little bit more money so that I would not sink, and it was really tough. I mean, and I look back at the course of the last, 8 years of all the stuff that has been happening. And it was really, I mean, it seemed like every year there was another sucker punch. You go from the divorce, then you get the divorce and you think that's final. And then you get the shenanigans going on. And then you get the collection agencies for all the medical bills that weren't being paid. And it seemed like every year was a sucker punch, another sucker punch, another sucker punch. And to be honest, there are some things that are going on that are kind of sucker punches, but I think I can look back at all this time and everything basically worked out. I don't think I'm the type of person that I can just go, well, you know what, it's all going to be great and this doesn't stress me out and it's not going to bother me. But I think I am getting to the point looking over the course of my life that I'm coming to the realization that things generally work out. I mean, unless you get hit by a truck and you die, the game's not over, and you get to keep basically putting one foot in front of the other. And I think if you guys are anything like me, you have a tendency, or you can get into this position to where you focus so much on trying to plan for the worst and focusing on what can go wrong and trying to mitigate it, that you lose your momentum. And that absolutely was my case for 2019. And I am tired of that. I have some plans that I want to accomplish this year. Like I said, the book is one thing. I may even start another channel doing some more narrative type stuff, away from the narcissistic abuse recovery community. But I'm just trying to take a step back and really reevaluate my year. And I would encourage you to do that to yourself. And that rolls into the next thing. And that is, you really have to give yourself more breathing room for this year. And you know what I mean by that is, be careful how you beat yourself up. Be careful how much you run yourself ragged. Take some pauses for you. Insert some stuff just for you in your time, in your day. And may set a time of once a week, every other week, something like that. But something that scratches your itch, that's just for you. Now, like in my situation, there's some things I want to do that I can incorporate into potentially making YouTube videos, and that's cool, right? I mean, that's like, okay, I want to be more creative and I want to try some different things. Like, I have a couple of friends, some people I've met through the channel that I want to do some excursions with, and potentially like roll that into an interview / vlog type thing. That would be fun for me to film and to try to create and craft that story. So that's something for me. Now, obviously, some for you would be different, but you have to find a way to recharge your batteries. And then the other thing is you have to take any setbacks and readjust your goals. So, for instance, what I should have done at the beginning of 2019, when I was freaking out about what was going to happen, is I should have taken a deep breath, did what I just said before, give myself some time to give some breathing room, get myself back recharged so I wasn't so freaked out about what might happen. And I should have basically taken that opportunity to do some of those other things with that other channel, because I think it would have been a lot of fun. And I think it would have been value added for you guys, and it obviously could have had a potential to help the channel reach more people. I got in such a basically fight or flight mode, thinking, oh God, I have to come up with a way to try to do something now, not plan for it to work 6 or 7 months from now. And as a result of that, I started working on different things to try to do that. And you guys know that I've been stressed about that throughout the years. Like, well, crap, should I just, stop doing the channel and just focus on a part-time job that actually can bring in some reoccurring money, or work more overtime at work or something like that to help pay the bills? And ultimately I didn't do that, and there was a lot of stress with that. Again, I made it okay throughout the year, right? I mean, things went okay. Now, there are some things that potentially could come up, like I'm worried about taxes, and I'm worried about how it's going to adjust with the kids and with the ex, and and all that stuff. I don't know. I mean, there's things that are unknown, but I have to get to the point, and you have to get to the point where you just kind of say, okay, I'm going to take whatever comes. I'm going to look at the situation. I'm going to determine my best course of action. I'm going to pick it and move on and not waste any extra time. This is basically the same advice I give to you guys about how to deal with the interaction with your ex, to purge them out of your mind so that they don't have any influence. And it's just taking that concept and applying it more to your life, applying it more to my life, right? I've gotten to the point pretty good where I don't really expend any additional negative energy dealing with the ex. I don't care. They're going to do what they're going to do. They're going to play their games. It's always going to be going on. There's no way to change it. There's no way to stop it. I'm like, I don't care, right? I mean, as long as it's not burning my house to the ground, I don't care. It took a long time to get to that point. So now I'm trying to work at it to where I can take that, and move that into other aspects of my life. God dang it. Hold on. This is what happens whenever you get your computer back and it locks up on you, or, goes to sleep on you. Sorry about that. So that's that is I think a key thing. It's like, okay, if something happens, find your way to adjust with it and then move forward. Don't let it consume you. I should have, like I said, when I got that information and I was freaking out, I should have said, you know what? There were I had backup plans. I looked into buying the house. That wasn't a good option because it would have the mortgage would have been higher than the rent. I looked into if they let me stay. And that's kind of what I was leaning towards. That's ultimately what happened. But there was some confusion, or not confusion, but some concern of whether they would say yes or no on that. And then even if the answer was no, I had other backup plans. I could have rented another place. I could have moved up to where Debbie is and moved in with her. I mean, there were different options that were really available to me that I should have been able to say, okay, you know what? I'm not worried about this. It's going to work out. I can focus on other things and I can enjoy my life instead of living in fear. So like the first 6 months of 2019 were pretty stressful. When something hits you, take a step back and reevaluate it. I mean, I think this is even if you have a bad year where you lose custody or something goes wrong, you have to say, okay, this is the situation. How do I deal with it? Not how do I get angry about what happened, because I could have done that easily with my situation. And just focus on, this is the reality. This is what I'm going to do about it. And this is how I'm going to live my life and accomplish some of those goals that I mentioned earlier. So this is, like I said, a quick video for the beginning of this year. I'm going to be slowly getting back into the groove of things for 2020. I still have some things going on. I have some coaching calls that are coming up this weekend, so I'm getting back in the groove of that. If you're interested in that, there's a slot open for Saturday. YouTube, as I mentioned before, is open channel memberships. So if you really like the content and what's going, and you want me or you want to support the channel, consider becoming a member. If you look in the channel, you can see down like right below the video, if you're on a PC or Mac, you can see a join button, and it gives you an option to support the channel, which gives you some badges that are specific for being members of the channel, plus some emojis that you can use in live streams and stuff like that, plus some other perks that I'm working on that are listed. And, it's a way to where if you're like, hey, you know what, I like what's going on here, I want to keep it going, that you can support that. And on that, start this year, like I said, let me go back to the beginning of this. Start this year with the intention of what you want and make that intention a positive thing. Focus on what you want to accomplish this year and keep that in your mind. Make a damn vision board, put it on your wall, put it on your mirror in your bathroom. Take pictures of what you're wanting to do, trips you're wanting to do, things you're wanting to accomplish, and just focus on that. Because the more what I will tell you guys is when I focus my energy and attention to something, most of the time it comes about. Now, obviously, there's things that throw some roadblocks in there, but it really does. It's a really amazing thing that when I've been able to do that, it's like things work out. They have a tendency to work out. So, and I think you'll probably see that too. This could be something, if you're looking at this, you're like, what? My life is a complete mess. That's not true. It's going to be horrible forever. I can relate. I remember thinking that a few not too distant future, So on that, be kind to yourself, and I will catch you on the next video. Take care.